Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
Today on The Impactful Engineer, I'm here with my brother Steve for an authentic conversation around engineering and personal development. Our goal is to create an environment for career excellence targeted towards engineering professionals. We believe that being open about what we've learned in our own careers will benefit others in their unique journey of engineering. Ultimately, we want people to have fulfilled careers and be inspired to become the best versions of themselves. Welcome to another show, Steve. Good to see you, man.
Thank you, Mr. Jake.
All right, so this episode we're gonna get some. We got some news for you. We got some new things we wanna let you know about. First, this podcast has a few episode types. So if you're listening for the first time, we wanted to start covering those. So Steve, take away the first type.
Yeah. So our standard episode format has Jake and I presenting a topic. This is what today's episode is going to be like. We introduce the why and the how around a topic and give some tips to get the conversation going and inspire some action. Usually, this will be based on something you can deploy in your daily career. Often, this includes a mindset shift we invite you to consider moving forward because we know and have experienced the power behind embracing mindset changes.
And two, we have a solo episode type, which is to be released. It's going to be fun. That is quick and down to the point where one of us has an idea we want to share with the group, but it's not quite a episode where Steve and I can talk for half an hour on it and a guest. So this will be a solo episode. Either Steve or I will present a topic. It's typically a mindset, a strategy, a tactic around making yourselves and others around you increase their potential in their career. It's something that we are really passionate about or close to, or that would simply otherwise not make good content for the full type episodes. Being solo episodes, these have a feeling more like a lecture with a little bit of fire mixed in. And we call these episodes Wednesday Wisdom.
Yeah, and about once a month, we will have a longer format episode. These will typically go for about an hour. And this is where we will bring on a guest that has expertise in a particular field and shares their wisdom, perspective, and mindset, strategies, etc., and actionable tips based around their area of genius. The overall goal being to provide exposure to multiple thought processes and views in areas that will help you succeed. And if we don't do that, we usually end up just having a good time.
Yeah.
But anyways, you will find some golden nuggets in there if you listen really closely.
Excellent. So those are our 3 episode types. Newsletter is going to start coming out weekly as well. Sign up through the questions at impactfulengineer.com. Email. That's questions at impactfulengineer.com. And we'll send you the newsletter each week.
Yeah. And if you have a general question that you want to ask us, some insight into some challenges you're having, use that same email. We'd gladly send a personal response. Also, if it's something that can inspire a topic on the show, we will discuss it on the show.
We're waiting for you to send us things. We're waiting for our first one, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait, man. I just can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. We get feedback in person from people that listen in our own personal lives, but we would love to hear general audience perspectives.
Yeah. All right. Now to the show. So today, let me set the stage. All right.
Do it.
Yeah. I want to give you a scenario that is all too common in my engineering world, which is the MEP world. I'm sure it's everywhere, right? But I can speak very closely to my industry. Something that through deliberate action and process modification, really, changing your mindset, I believe it can become less common, not completely eradicated, but less common than it is. This all too familiar issue seems to plague every single job in some capacity, no matter what. And it drives me absolutely crazy. So could there be a possible way to fix it? Yes. But it takes, the team, it takes people inside and outside the organization knowing what steps to take at what time and push the job through. So the problem, of course, what I'm talking about is the entire team cramming at the end to finish a job. Isn't that just the most exciting thing you can do in your career? It's amazing. So that period of a week or two where you can say bye-bye to your budget and sayonara to your nights, right? It's all a rush. Reviews are happening in parallel. Loose ends are coming out of nowhere. You weren't as far as you thought. The blame shifts to everyone else on the team. That didn't you get the information sooner? Couldn't you have gotten the information sooner? I've been there. And if you've ever worked MEP, you've been there too. Now, certain companies and their cultures will handle these things very well, and some might not. So you'll see different levels of responses to this as you work through it, which just kind of shows you the character and the culture of your organization. All right. So you end up getting a damn good set of plans out that you can be proud of, but at what cost, right? So we want to be constantly evaluating what the costs were. And there is likely another period of cram session coming for the next job, right? So you're going to be hopping. So, and you've likely not been anticipating this or executing that plan either, right? So, it's kind of like, oh, wait, you've pushed it off for 2 solid weeks, the next project as well, because you pushed off the previous one, because you pushed off the previous one, right? Definitely some cram time coming soon. Seems like it would be an endless cycle. Then you get a break. Finally, a lull, a downswing. You're tired. You're exhausted. The exhaustion is exacerbated because you fall into a low period, which then kind of throws you off. I've seen that happen. Like busy. You've sustained this thing, and while you know you're probably burning out, as soon as it's ripped out from under you and you got nothing to do, that sets you off all weird too. You start getting paranoid. You're like, oh, what's happening, right? But that lull doesn't last long, and then you're on the roller coaster again. Yay. So we're all on for the ride again. Woo,
Yeah, and this doesn't even happen once a project,
right?
In my industry, I see it just as common mid-project, right before a major milestone. A good example for like in product development would be everyone cramming to get ready for tooling kickoff. You have to have financial approvals for the PO. You need final design wrapped up, including your drawings. You may have test plans, risk assessments updated and improved, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So in many companies I've worked for, this can be one of the heaviest workload phases of a project versus the end of a project.
Yeah. And there's, all the things you listed, there's nobody waiting for anything on you, right? There's no multiple parties making decisions. Like, we shouldn't do this early. Maybe we should just throw a grenade in everyone's schedule and just be like, look, this isn't my priority, so now it's your priority. And in a week, let's get all that done. That sounds great. Yeah. I don't know if you can taste the sarcasm. Like, grab it right out of the air. Just all right. So hey, let's talk about some ways to fix this. All right, and I'm just being funny. All right. So on this episode, I think we'll be super focused on what you can do, and what your entire team can do. It takes time to influence others to follow. So I would say start acting on these things right away. You don't got to go running around telling everybody that that's what you're doing and preach, but just start doing them. And it starts with you showing them how it's done, of course. So let's see what we can do to start making the roller coaster maybe some nice kiddie level ride with like one little swoopty, and not like, the crazy Medusa drop and you all think you're going to die, right? So save the wild rides for amusements out of work, right? And let's get this one to level out. All right. That's kind of what we're going for. So really what I want to start with, Steve, is of course a project plan, right? I mean, plans get torn to pieces, but you just got to have one in the beginning. So focusing on a project plan and executing daily will keep you from going over budget. It's not the micromanaging of individual project assignments, right? It's not diving in and just being on everybody's butt all the time and cracking the whip. That's not what's going to drive the outcome. The overall project plan, and then allowing and empowering people to finish quickly, be efficient, do what they need to do to get the job done with how you would, what your expectations are for, the boundaries you're going to put on them, the constraints. Hey, we got this much time. We need to know these things at this time. This is how much budget we have for each phase. Go. Right. And micromanaging it is not going to be what gets you there. I would say one little offshoot real quick, micromanaging is a sign of mistrust. So I've micromanaged people before because I didn't trust them because they've burned you or the project or whatever, just flat out. I've been the person that's screwed up a project too, for whatever reason. But micromanaging comes from mistrust. So if you're being micromanaged, just as a side note, just do what they're asking you to do really well, and it'll slowly get them off your back, and then it'll fix itself. But anyway, in the context of this talk, micromanaging is not going to be what gets the project moving forward. It's going to be a good plan and executing. What do you think about that, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So we've touched on this before, right? You need to be constantly working on all your projects. If they have a wide range, even if they have a wide range of priority, the amount of work per day or per week may vary project to project, but you never want to let a project to not get attention unless it's on hold. Something that I do is at the end of every week, I'll assess my next week's priorities and I'll schedule blocks of time to ensure I work on what needs attention. It doesn't have to be large chunks of time, but knowing that all my projects are getting attention allows me to stay focused on what I'm actually working on, like right now, versus that constant distraction of uncertainty.
Hey, my fellow impactful engineers, if there's one thing that you could do to help out this community, it's to keep listening to the podcast, but also if you found value in it, to share it with one person, give us a 5-star review, or even leave a text review. It'll only take a few seconds of your time. Find that person that you think could enjoy some of this or learn from it, and pass on the good word. Now back to the show. Yep, planning, project planning, resource planning. That's perfect. Something that popped in my head when you were talking was so you said touch every project, right? Mm-hmm. And keep it. You have to be touching every project every week, and people will tell you, don't touch this project, it's not ready to go, but the clock's still ticking, and you're going to lose sight of the project, right? So you're trying to save budget. Don't touch this project, don't assign it to anyone, no one should be doing anything on it. Great, you can save money doing that. But we're not talking about saving money by doing that. We're talking about trying to level out the workload and the roller coaster. And you can do that and make great profits on your projects. So I would say the tendency to just be off a project is not good. And we'll talk about that in more depth here in a second. When the tendency that I see and that I have experienced myself is that if you're going to take this avenue of, all right, let's make progress on our projects every week. So then you kind of just throw delegations or throw work that you think needs to get done to people without enough thought, without enough planning, right? Because you're trying to just like, okay, we need to get this going, so I'm going to throw this little thing over there for someone to do, and then I'm going to really focus on the fire that's this week, the projects due this week. But you didn't give quite enough time, direction, hours allotment, what the exact directive is, what it means for that person to be finished with the assignment you threw at them, blah, 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 blah. And you didn't spend enough time on it. So then they camp on it. They're wasting time. They get nowhere. They're spending budget. And the next week it's in this kind of the same spot, kind of, because you weren't available to field questions because you were focusing on this week's fire. Touch the projects every week, but do it so that you're driving straight towards an outcome. Because if you're not driving straight at an outcome, you're wasting time. Okay. So the people you've delegated to are definitely going to be wasting time if you don't provide them with the structure that they need, that goal that they can see to run straight at. They're going to be wasting time, and that's on you, not them. So you as the person that is delegating, or you as the PM, or you as the lead that is using a support resource, it's your problem when things aren't getting done and when things don't produce what you expect them to produce. All right. So one action you can take away immediately is to, if you're in the support role, ask for definitive direction, a timeline. How many hours should I spend on this before I start asking you questions to get me over the hump? When is this? Yeah, the timeline. When is it due? What is the goal of the outcome of this assignment? I need to have that goalpost set. Okay, not do a calc. You say, we need to figure out and make sure that this load fits on where we're putting it. That involves doing a calc. See the difference? So don't just do a calc. Know why. All right. So set them up for success. That will help you tremendously.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just managing the expectations of anything that you're delegating. Another flip side to that I've seen is a lot of engineers don't want to delegate because they think that it would take longer to explain how to do something than to do it themselves. You can't be in that
That's
mindset.
an endless trap.
Yeah,
You'll be saying that until you're 75, ready to retire.
exactly. So it's okay to show someone else how to do something that initial time, but then you need to hand it off and let them run with it. And even if they fail, that's okay. But, they have an example, and then now they will self improve because they will have an example that you've set that expectation and that standard, and they will see that their task or the work that they're doing isn't quite the same, and then they will self-regulate and keep improving themselves and get to or even beyond the level that you set the expectations to.
100%. And the only thing I'll add is the best place and time to do that is not 2 weeks before your project is due.
Precisely.
All right. So let's move on. Let's get off that. Well, I'm going to continue actually. So staying off of a project to save budget, it's a trap, just like we talked about. If that's the way you save money on your projects, you're just going to have this roller coaster that burns people out. That's just the way your business is going to be. And you'll have really strong people that just take it and do it. And then you're going to have people that get burnt out that otherwise could have been really great assets to your team. So, I mean, if you want to keep doing that, go for it. It works. It's been done forever. We're talking about how to make things better and how to progress. So in my world, you need to be viewing your drawings and the team's drawings, reports, meeting minutes, etc. regularly. Okay. You'll start to see things and catch things that trigger in your brain you've seen before. Oh, we could do this. Oh, we could do that. Spending an hour on it is not a bad thing. Immersing yourself in the project, keeping notes on things that pop into your mind to address, then seeing how they fit into your plan, and then executing on them. Okay. Some of the stuff will drop. I drop a lot of stuff that I think is important at the time, but then I go, it's not really that important. This part of, this is a part of the action plan you have to build into your project. Okay. So the more you leave for later, the tougher it's going to get through to the next deliverable, of course. And the more resources you have to throw at it to get it done. So this cramming period, you shorten the timeline, you're going to increase the resources it takes to do the job at a shorter time horizon. If you expand the timeline and you're consistently working, you lower the resource peak within that time frame to a more reasonable, smooth level. It's just the way it goes. And then I would say another thing that happens when you stay off a project is you're not finishing low-hanging fruit work that you could be working on that will relieve some of those bottlenecks at the phase gates that you're going to be going through, the milestones, the deliverables, right? What do you have any thoughts on that, Steve?
Yeah, I actually want to touch on the project planning real quick.
Yeah.
Kind of go back to that. Something that I've been promoting internally lately is to reframe your project planning from when things need to be finished to when they can be started and start working on those tasks then, right? So, you still need to understand when they must be done, of course, as they drive other consecutive actions, but this change in perspective will prime your mindset to start work as soon as possible rather than waiting to the last second. Because a common weakness that a lot of engineers have is their inability to accurately predict timing of their workload. So understanding when you can get started on a task helps prevent the classic scenario of allowing yourself, 2 weeks to do something before it has to get done. And then it is delayed another week because something came up that you didn't consider.
Sure. Which is always going to be a battle. That'll never go away. But I love that idea. When is it due? But also, when does it have to be started?
Or what can it be started?
So simple. Yeah. When can it be? You get you even more ahead. I like that. When does this or when can this be started? And then we keep our end goal in mind, of course. But damn, because then it's like you've got two markers. Mm-hmm. When should it have been started and when is it due? And then you're passing the when should it have been started date, and it's going to reinforce some urgency. You need to get this going because there's going to be thought, then an email, then you're waiting for an answer, then you need to do this, then I didn't think about that one, and then we got to do that. Pad your estimates too by like a week. I promise you. You think you're going to get it down to the day, you're not. You're thinking weeks here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, let's talk about surprises. I mean, we've kind of talked about it already. but let the surprises, quote unquote, be for things that are truly a surprise. The owner decides we're changing the scope. Here's this big thing we didn't tell you about. Make the surprises truly a surprise. All right. We typically lean back on excuses for not getting the work sooner, and then we call them surprises. Let's stop doing that. All right. Or we say, well, this other consultant didn't get the information to me on time. That's actually your problem, because you need to be managing your other consultants to get you the information. Or you've communicated and kept up on status reports and communicated again and asked for it again. And you've stated, look, once we get the information from you, it's going to take us 2 weeks before we can get the design to you based on the information you give me, right? You need to be trying all these tactics and trying to help guide them to build some urgency on their side, right? And then so that when the time comes, the only answer that you have is not, well, we haven't communicated the whole time. They never knew it was a problem. So now we need to keep our deadline, but we're doing 3 weeks worth of work in a week. When there's other options available to you, there truly is. And if you set the expectation, nobody's surprised. That's what irks people the most, is surprises and non-communication. Just communicate. You're not creating excuses. You're not setting them up so that you can have more time. You're not doing any of that. You're managing the expectations of the project, right? It's like starting a project, telling no one that you need anything, and then a week before you go, well, I didn't get all these answers. Well, we didn't know you needed those. Well, you should know, because should. Well, okay, should's great. Take your should and throw it out the window and start asking for the things you need on time, and then giving status updates, right? And people are so understanding of that. Even when you built it in your brain, or you think that this is the end all be all date, and if we don't deliver it, we're going to lose the client forever, and then our reputation is going to be smashed. We're never going to get more work from this person, and it's going to be terrible if we don't work 80 hours this week and shove this through. It's like, well, where were we 3 weeks ago when we were saying, hey, we're doing our best here. We're pretty good on track, but there's a big chunk of information missing that we'll need, and we'll need to be able to work it in. So let's get on that. There's much more grace when you've established the expectations, right? So you can see I've hit on something that I'm really passionate about here. But you're bringing some of that fire, right? But communicate. I've seen it. It works. I've gotten such good reports and good feedback when you would otherwise have two parallel paths. One, Jake's on there communicating expectations, keeping the client up to date, diligently working through to do the best, put them in the best possible position to win, the entire team, the client, everyone that's affected. And then the schedule goes another month. And then you see one where Jake is just head down, not asking for anything, asks it once and then just expects it back, doesn't give status updates, doesn't tell anyone that, hey, we've got an impending schedule push here because of these things. Let's go. Being respectful about it, but saying, let's do this, guys. And he doesn't do that, and then crams at the end and makes a ton of mistakes. And then all his guys are burned out. He's burned out. He's like, this sucks. We've taken all the time from the other projects that we're doing the same thing on, right? And pushing those around, and the ripple effect of all. And then what's the feedback? Is the feedback, oh, thank you for getting us these messed up drawings that we're going to have a hell of a time going through in construction, but you got to me on time. Thank you. Side note, sometimes the schedule is king, and you will identify that, and you'll say, if schedule is king, you're going to get messed up drawings. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be more mistakes than there would have been.
Yeah, that happens.
Okay, that's a side note. That's fine. I know there's exceptions to everything I'm saying. Great. But I'm saying that I've gotten great feedback and clients that have very much appreciated the communication over cramming. They value that more, right? So I'm just saying it's going to be better for everybody, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, what you're doing is you're searching for the surprises early, right? You're soliciting them, and you're trying to manage those surprises. So when you, as a surprise reveals itself later in a timeline, it's way more impactful to the project. So if you know that bit of information earlier on that will throw a project off, you have a lot more time for contingency planning. A lot more time to pivot in the design than what you would when it's 2 weeks out from launching or being delivered to the customer. So I think being proactive in grabbing information from, your customers, your project managers, etc., will help mitigate that intensity of the surprises that will always be in every single project.
Yep, absolutely. I feel like I should probably cover some hey, what if scenarios, because people are probably going to have a lot of them. Well, I would love to get through these episodes and just at the face value have people consider what we're saying and really dive deep and look into it. I always have this feeling of, and whether I should address it or not is something, I need to figure out, I guess. But I always feel like there's going to be these what ifs. You're not thinking about this. It's human nature, right? These guys are talking to us about this stuff, but they're not thinking about all these other things. Most of the time we are. We're just trying to get the point across of what the most effective things are, right? So the exceptions and all that. That's all great. One of them that pops in my head, I guess I'll address it since I'm blabbing on about this. You're going to work too far and you're going to go too far and then have to do a 180 and come back and back off your design. And then at that point, it's your responsibility for having overspent the budget in one direction, right? And we're changing directions now and you've gone too fast, too far, too fast, too soon. Okay. That's something that I've heard before. And overall, I guess, that is a risk. All right. But I'm telling you through my experience, doing it the way that we've been talking about far outweighs the risk of designing too far. But one thing you can do, which I do to mitigate that risk, is that you get approval to move on to the next stage of the project written from the person that's expecting you to do the project. You say, look, here we are. We have 6 weeks to get to the next thing. If I'm going to do the next thing in 6 weeks, I need approval to move forward and I need approval to move in the direction that we've established so far. And that's the direction we're going. And I need to get rubber to the road and we need to get traction and go. And then they say, okay, time to move forward. You're approved. Go to the next stage. Perfect. That usually solves because you're putting them on notice like, hey, we got to start now if we're going to maintain the schedule and we need to make sure the direction's the right way to go. Then if the direction changes, there's a general understanding when you go, oh, okay, so 3 weeks in, they say, oh, we're changing direction. Halt. Cool. I've spent half the budget for this next 6 week phase. I've spent half the budget already. Oh yeah, 3 weeks. That makes sense. Okay. If we change directions, that's a change in scope and I'm going to need to have a little more budget to get us back on track. If you didn't set that expectation, didn't have that conversation or get that approval to go forward, then it's a much harder conversation after that. But I've already spent all the fee to get to the next phase. Oh, well, who told you to do that? Right? And you're thinking, well, the schedule, because I'm thinking to myself, the schedule's a schedule. We must meet it. Right? But schedules change. Things fluctuate all the time. The plan always changes. Not once have we done a job where the original proposed schedule, fee, scope has ever been just that. And then we were done. Never. Never ever has it. So it's always moving, right? I don't know. Do the things that will mitigate that risk. I would say choose the continuous marching forward of progress over waiting. That's one. And then two, I would do the things that mitigate the risks by choosing that leading through execution and continuing mindset. But hey, that's just our opinion. You know what I mean? You want to keep just waiting and waiting and waiting and then just like, oh, all hands on deck. More power to you.
It keeps it exciting, at least.
Yeah, right. Here we like insanely high highs and low lows. We love it. Strap in. Okay, how do you do that? Well, we just kind of wait. We wait to do everything to the last couple weeks. Sounds good. Awesome. I'm in.
Yeah, they call it firefighting for a reason, right?
Yeah, firefighting. Yeah. I got a little like toy extinguisher on my desk at work. So when we get a fire, my buddy will pick it up or I'll pick it up and we spray each other with it. It's kind of fun. You got to have fun, right? Do all the things. At least have a strategy. Pick a lane and work the strategy. Surprises will always come, of course. Workload is crazy sometimes, but at least have a strategy so you can work the strategy and know what to fix or maybe pivot than just no strategy and you just accept it for what it is. Then it's always going to be that way, right? All right, guys. Is that the episode, Steve? You got anything else?
Something popped in my head for a good Wednesday wisdom topic. So
Ooh.
I'm going to write that down. But
you want to
I
share
think for this episode, it's all about scope creep.
And you got a lot to say about that?
I do have a lot to say.
I look forward to that. That's gonna be fun. Bring the fire, dude. Bring the fire.
It is all too common in our industries.
I think I'll enjoy that one. If anything, just to listen to you just go off. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But you'll have a very good strategic approach and be all calm about it. So
we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do some pre-gaming or something.
Yeah.
Get you all fired up. All right, guys, pick a plan. Think about what we said. Execute what you think will work for you. Test it out. If you hate it, don't do it. If you think it might work, try it out and see what kind of result you get. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Hey guys, I hope you had a great time listening. Maybe you learned something new. Maybe you got inspired, or at least took one thing away that you'd be able to use. Maybe you just had a good laugh. Impactful Engineering's hope and mission is that through this podcast, we can play a small part in expanding the reach and awareness of engineering and all of its many areas of application. The multiple engineering career paths available can be hugely rewarding as part of a fulfilled life, creating opportunity to impact nearly everyone in the modern world. An engineer's work helps to foster creation of new technologies, create safe and comfortable environments in which people can work, and lends to the sustainable future of everyone on the planet. The world needs more impactful engineers. Our vision is to provide engineers with the perspective and the tools to allow themselves the opportunity to become the most impactful engineers they can be. Included in our vision is to grow the impactful engineering community to a point where we can provide full ride scholarships to students in every single U.S. state every single year. This is an enormous goal, and with your help, we can get there. To start, we will continue to execute this mission in the way that we know how. Having conversations, telling stories, and talking about what we find interesting and are passionate about. If the episode made you think, made you object, made you think you could possibly be doing something more with your day, or brought about an idea that you could spend more time on developing further, please share the show or recommend it to your friends. Even if you didn't personally think it was a huge help, there may be someone that you know that could benefit from it, and that's all we can ask for. Until next time on the Impactful Engineer Podcast.